Hello and welcome to the Pickle Jar. My name is Josh and in today's video I'm going to be talking to you about the new paints from Games Workshop.
Pickle jar, miniatures, excellent!
Hi guys and welcome back to another video here on the Pickle Jar. Just before we get started, just want to say that if you are enjoying the content that we're putting out here, be sure to leave a like and a comment down below, let me know your thoughts. And if you're new to the Pickle Jar, then please consider subscribing so you can keep up to date with all the content we release in the future. So today's video, I want to be talking about the new paints from Games Workshop that were released along with the Indomitus box set. Now, there's a couple of metallics here, there's a shade and there's a new technical paint, and they are primarily designed to be used on your Necrons. As I am painting up some new Necrons from the Indomitus box set, I decided it would be a good idea to try out these new paints and see what they're like, see if they're worth getting, and also give you top tips on how to use them most effectively. So without any further ado, let's see how I get on.
So here we have the new paint range. We have the Canoptek Alloy. We have the Runelord Brass. We have the Cryptek Armourshade Gloss. And then the new technical paint, the Tesseract Glow. So going for a similar sort of look on this warrior that I've gone for with the Necrons that I've painted recently. I'm starting off with the Canoptek Alloy, and all I'm doing here is dry brushing this all over the model to give it a nice bright base coat. Now on the tutorial that I did for these bronze armour, I used Leadbelcher, and if I'm completely honest, there's not too much difference between Leadbelcher and this. This has got a slight sort of bronzy, sort of gold tint to it, but to be honest, when you're putting the other paints over the top, if you've got Leadbelcher already, I would say probably just use Leadbelcher. If you need to buy some new paints, this is a fantastic metallic paint. It works fine, it's got a nice consistency, and it goes on really nice, but once everything else is over the top, you might as well just use Leadbelcher or another similar sort of dark metallic colour for the effect that you get. But as I said, nothing wrong with the paint itself, but if you've already got stuff, use what you've already got. Once that layer was all on and completely done, I started using the new Runelord Brass. Now this paint is very, very nice. It's another new metallic. Again, consistency is fantastic. It goes on really nice. It flows nice off your brush, which sometimes metallics can either be a little bit too watery, like the Runefang Steel that I've got, or sometimes they can be a bit thick, like Leadbelcher can be a bit thick sometimes. But both of these new metallics flow really nicely off the brush, and this one specifically I found really useful because the technique that I was doing before for the armour on my Necrons, for the bronze sort of look, I was mixing together Balthazar Gold and Leadbelcher Silver. Now if you've got both those colours, mixing them works fine, but if you need to buy something and you've been painting a lot of Necrons and you're wanting to go for this sort of style, you might as well buy a pot, and this colour that this provides is pretty much those two mixed together already. So it's a fantastic paint. It's another colour that's different to stuff that's already out there, and I found it very, very easy to use and very, very useful, chucking this over the top of the Canoptek Alloy that I put on before. All I'm doing is applying it in a similar sort of fashion to how I would have applied the Balthazar Leadbelcher mix, putting it on all the different arm panels, leaving it towards the centre and leaving the edges in the brighter base coat that I've just put on. Now we're getting on to one of the new paints that I was really, really interested in trying out, and that is the Cryptek Armourshade Gloss. Now, on the tutorial that I did, there'll be a link in the top right hand corner right here, but on the tutorial that I did for the brass alloy, armour, I use the Agrax Earthshade to darken certain areas down. And this new Cryptek Armourshade provides a similar sort of thing. It is used to darken down the armour, but the thing with this is it's very, very intense. The colour is very intense, and it is almost like the old chestnut ink that the Games Workshop used to do. So you can see here I'm applying it. It is going on very, very dark. It is very, very intense, the colour on there. So what I've done on some of the images that you'll see later on with some of the finished models that I've used these paints on, I've watered it down a little bit, adding 1 brush of water for every 2 brushes of the Armourshade. And that helps it flow a little bit better. It takes the edge off the intensity, and it also takes away from the high gloss finish that this is putting on the model. As you'll see in the end result, this particular warrior ends up looking a lot darker and a lot grittier and grimier, which if you're wanting to go for that sort of look and wanting it to look like he's got oil leaking out of him and stuff like that, it's fantastic. But if you're just wanting to darken down the armour that you're using, like you would do with the Agrax Earthshade from the tutorial, you do need to water this down a little bit. But having said that, this is a fantastic shade, and I think that this is going to be one that I'll be using for a long time in the future because of how nice the colour is, how rich it is, and how easy it is to use. Like I said, just add a little bit of water if you're wanting to not have quite as dark a shade going on your model. Add a little bit of water and you'll be fine. And now we're getting ready to start sort of preparing to use the new Tesseract Glow technical paint. Now, you may have noticed that I'm not actually using it right now, and that is because the area that I'm going to be using it on I need to prepare first. So if you watch the Warhammer TV tutorial, it'll tell you to paint white on whatever area it is that you're wanting to paint. If you're painting over the top of black, however, I would suggest using something slightly off-white, and I have found that Ulthuan Grey works the best because it's a nice layer, but it's very, very opaque. It goes really well over the top of black. You don't have to mess about putting multiple layers on like you would do with white. So that's what I've been using for stuff like this. I've been using Ulthuan Grey. All I'm doing is painting in the recessed areas and the little dots on the gauze rod, getting ready to put the technical paint on in a bit. Now, if you do mess up doing this, because obviously they are only small recessed areas, you can just paint back over the edges in Chaos Black or Abaddon Black or whatever black you're using, just to tidy them up, ready for the technical paint going on afterwards. So there you go, as you can see, I've now tidied up all those edges, put the black back in where it needs to be, and just left the recessed areas in the white, or Ulthuan Grey. So for this, what I'm doing is just whacking on the Tesseract Glow over the top of the grey/white base coat that I've put down. You do need to make sure that you give the Tesseract Glow paint a really good shake, similar to when you're using contrast paints, before you use it, just because it does take a bit of shaking. If it's been left for a while, it sort of separates and settles in the bottom a little bit. Get a nice shake, you'll be fine. And all you need to do is just chuck this on. Put more on than you think you need to, and you'll get that nice bright look. All I'm doing here is showing off the sort of box art style of the gauze rods. Obviously this isn't how I normally paint mine, and I think it looks pretty nice, to be honest. So here's the guy all finished. As you can see, he looks very, very sort of oily and dirty. I quite like that look, but it did need a little bit of refining. Here's a little picture of him next to the Immortal that I did a couple of weeks ago using the old technique. You can see the styles are very similar. And then here are some pictures of the stuff that I've painted using the new paints once I'd sort of got used to how to use them and practiced a little bit. And I'm really, really happy with how they've turned out.
So there you go, guys. That is what I think of the new paints from Games Workshop and the best ways to use them. If I had to pick a favourite from the four, I would definitely say it is the Gloss Armourshade, the Cryptek Armourshade. I think that this is a fantastic shade, absolutely brilliant, and is a lot of use to be had from this paint. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like and a comment down below, let me know your thoughts. And if you are new, again, please consider subscribing so you can keep up to date with all the content we release in the future. If you want to catch one of our live streams, we live stream here on the Pickle Jar every Wednesday evening. And you guys can help pick what I'm working on each live stream by voting on the poll that goes out on our Facebook page every Monday, sometimes Tuesdays. Speaking of live shows, you can also catch me over on the Chilling Wargamers live show every Thursday at 8 PM. I present the show along with Mr. Elston and Mr. Spud from the Chilling Wargamers, and we talk about different topics every week. Sometimes we have guests on, sometimes we do painting challenges. It's always good fun, so be sure to follow the link down below in the description and join us for one of our live shows. If you want to help support the channel, you can donate to the Pickle Jar using the link below. And if you want to look stylish while you're helping support the channel, then you can head on over to our merch store where we sell t-shirts, hoodies, face masks, cushions, whatever you need. We've got it on the store, and everything that we make from it goes back into the channel to help create new content. That's all from me, and I'll see you next week with another video.